Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel where we review anything and everything. And today we are getting into, this is, I would say for me, kind of the return into BeyBlade. So just give me a little background history. And also for those who are not familiar with BeyBlade, because for anyone who is, this is just already going to go into a place of being, you know, they already kind of know the ins and outs more so than what I'm going to be able to present here. But for those who are kind of new to it, it's pretty much just a spinning top game. And I remember way back in the days, I know a lot of people aren't going to know this, but there was like a kind of spin jitsu type of small little top game similar to this many years back. But anyway, so before actually even starting the channel, I got into BeyBlade a little bit. And I bought it to get into it with my sons, but at the same time, they were like really young and they didn't really gravitate to it. It might've been not age appropriate for them. Obviously on the box here, it says age 8. They were very young at the time. So, but now I pulled out some of my old stuff and they kind of got into it. So it made me kind of do a little bit of research on what's currently out there. Now they're on a new, generation of BeyBlade called BeyBlade X. Now, not to make it like a whole detailed kind of thing, especially for those who aren't really in the know, but this is the 4th generation. So what that generally means is that each generation was not compatible with the previous generation in terms of it wouldn't have just scaled up correctly. So this is a way of saying like, you're done with the other previous generations. This is the 4th generation, and you would obviously play within the realm of the generation that you're in. And so this is the new current generation that they're in, BeyBlade X. And I think it's only been out for maybe about 2 years, maybe a year and a half. So it's roughly new. So if someone's going to get into it, this is the time. In addition, additional little bit of background history. So when this was being made, at least for the time that was being made in the US, you had Takara Tomy, which is the company you see at the top here. And you had Hasbro, and they were linked as a joint venture company for BeyBlade. But the only difference was that Takara Tomy would make their BeyBlades differently, almost more beefed up. And Hasbro would make their blades a little more like watered down for the American market. So they really weren't compatible, but they would always make the similar same blade. So if for in this case, where you would have Scythe Incendio, you would have the Hasbro version, which would be a little bit more watered down, but it'd be the same, you know, name of the blade. And eventually, like this is the first time now where the game of BeyBlade has now become global. So that's what they were doing with this movement BeyBlade X, where now the Hasbro and the Takara Tomy versions are both the exact same. The only difference, and the boxes look the same, the only difference is that the Takara Tomy ones will have Japanese on them or Chinese or whatever it is. I'm sorry that I don't know where it's made from, so I apologize for that. But the writing on the package will be different. Hasbro and Takara Tomy are both part of like the same company when it comes to this. I don't know if they're connected as one company in general, but I believe Hasbro owns the rights to Takara Tomy or vice versa, or however it goes. But my point is now they both put their branding on the package because this is just the English version, while the other one is the Chinese version of, or is it Japan? I'm going to say Japan because I don't know. So is the other one's the Japanese version of, just in terms of just like the branding. But other than that, it's the exact same thing. So getting that out of the way, generally you have, when it comes to this type of game, the setup is, you will have, it's almost like a rock, scissors, paper kind of dynamic. You'll have attack types, defense types, stamina types, and balance types, which is something in the middle. So just giving this kind of quick run through, you see these things come with stats for each piece. A BeyBlade is made up of 3 parts. This is an attack type, this is a balance type. And so those 3 parts, you can mix and match them up any way you want to kind of customize your blade or keep it stock. And generally speaking, they come with a rip mechanism. We'll call it that for short, but it's your spinner. And then you pretty much, and I'm gonna just show this live in a moment, but you pretty much use that to get your BeyBlade spinning, and you play on one of these kind of battle stadiums. Now, the one thing that I want to bring into note is for BeyBlade X now, the old stadiums, this is like a standard Beystadium. It's the cheap stadium. You can get a more enhanced stadium, but this is a great starter, I feel, because this was $10. It's gonna range from 10 to like $12.99, depending on if it's on sale or not. But essentially this basic stadium here now is different from the old ones. The old ones, even the basic ones, used to look like this, like a basic tub, but the only difference is they didn't have this here. This now is, I forget the term that they call it. The X, that's what the X is supposed to represent in it. And essentially it allows the spinning blade, if it hits this, can get speed because the grooves on the lower part of the spinning top, what you can see there, those grooves would lock into this and gain faster momentum. So that is the difference as far as a kind of gimmick that they've done for this new change, along with the fact that, like I said, everything is now global. So it just makes it easier. And the BeyBlades are now a better price because of that. I'm gonna just toss this to the side for the moment as we unbox these. I did a little bit of research, not a lot, but from my understanding, these are pretty good starter ones to get into. This one's like pretty good just as is. This one's okay just as is, but I just wanted to have some because I have some coming into the mail. Like I said, link's gonna be in the description for all this and on Amazon. And this one actually comes with a more premium rip mechanism. We're gonna call it that for short. I forget the proper term. And this one has the basic one. I really think that there's not really a difference in terms of just casual play. Some people might feel differently who are really heavy into the hobby, but I am just kind of really getting started off. So we're gonna unbox these. And I hope that little rundown was enough to get a few of you guys at least into just knowing the basics of how the game works. And there's a point system with, you know, how you defeat someone. Now you can just play generically and just say, well, if I just win, then I just win. But generally speaking, there's supposed to be the different pockets in the stadium that I just showed you have different point values. One of them is supposed to be a bigger pocket, which is supposed to be like a 3-point knockout. The other two pockets, I mean the other 3 pockets, because four pockets total. One of them is worth 3 points. I think the other ones are worth 1 point. And I think if you burst the other person, it's 2 points because you can burst in pieces. And then I think that the there's another thing that's just I think 1 point is just when one of them stops spinning. And I forget exactly, but so the rules are inside here. I'm not going to go over all those kind of specific details in it in that regards. Comes with the basic ripper here, which is fine. When they come out, they're going to be a little bit twisted, but it's not that big of a deal because generally speaking, let me just change my camera angle a little bit for you guys. Generally speaking, it's not going to matter because it's still going to be able to still do what it has to do. Even though you could put some hot water and bend it out so it's a little bit more, you know, straight. Let's see here. So we've got, these are the lower parts and then the blade. So this is called, each part is called, the top is called the blade. The center is called the ratchet and the bottom is called the bit. So if I do not call them by their proper names within the video, just know that that is the proper names of them. That's how we get this out. I would advise also, if you want, you can save the backs of your boxes so that way you know the stats that they give for these different things. Throw that in there. I'm going to throw the box away in this. Open this up here. And what's also nice too, currently, if you, at the time you're the recording of this video, if you want and you want to get your kids into this, if you were to go and check out Netflix, it is available, the cartoon anime on Netflix. So you turn it a little bit to make it lock into place, and then you put this one in, and I believe that, okay, that just plops right in there. I know you don't got to turn it for it to lock in. It's just you plop it in there, seems to be. And there you go. It has some type of creature thing always on the top to represent like what, you know, is the creature or monster that's associated with it. So everything's different now. It's changed. It's universal now. So it's definitely a different kind of game. It's also trying to become a similar to how video games became like tournaments and things like Olympics and this and that or whatever, I don't know, major tournaments. They're trying to do that with it as well. So that's another push that's trying to make this a little more official once they started this series, the BeyBlade X series or 4th generation. So it makes it even more of an interest if you want to get into it or get your kids into it, because it can also become something that's competitive down the line, and may even have places where you might have hobby shops or whatever, and people are playing, or, you know, I always thought it'd be fascinating if things like this got to the point where you saw people playing on the street and you could just see them, walk up to them, start playing as well. But at least where I live, I've never seen something like that ever happen with any kind of hobby game. So here we go. And this one, like I said, is a bit more premium. You can see it's got paint on the metal ring, but the blade. But the thing about it is that this right here, though it looks nice and fancy, that paint will come off once metal starts hitting metal. So just be aware of that. So if you like it for the idea of it staying clean, that's not gonna be the case for that long. So one is Scythe Incendio and the other is Soar Phoenix. And this one has a more, it's called like a string rip and launcher. I'm sorry, that's the proper name. I don't know why I couldn't remember. Launcher. This is a string launcher, and this is your, I think, rip launcher is what they call it. So it's been a long time. But like I was saying, while I put this together, you can go on Netflix and you could check out the anime, which I think would help you if you have little kids, get them into it. You can get into it more. You start learning certain characters that are associated with this. Because similar to what Yu-Gi-Oh was like when Yu-Gi-Oh first came out. Turn to the side to attach. Similar to that, this is one of those things where the actual game that you're playing is the same game they're playing in the show. Unlike something like Pokemon, where when you play the card game, they're playing with actual Pokemon and you are playing with cards. In Yu-Gi-Oh, you are playing with cards, they're playing with cards. And in BeyBlade, you are both playing with the same thing. So it gives a higher level of attachment to what's going on. So, Scythe and Phoenix. I'm just going to call them short because I'm going to forget the other parts of the name as I'm just kind of going through this. So Scythe and Phoenix. And yeah, we're going to see how they compete. This is a balance type and this is an attack type. And this is just to give you guys a sense of how it all works. Now, to the best of my knowledge, I'm going to see. So just going to show you guys how it works. You put this in and you're supposed to kind of lock it in there. A little twist. You don't do it to the point where the launcher has a click, but you just kind of let it, you spin it a little bit so these little prongs kind of lock into place. Now, one thing I'm curious about is, are they both the same type of spinning direction? Because you have ones that spin left. These are right spinning BeyBlades, and then you have left spinning blades as well. So they're both right. So that's good, because that means that I could use the same one for the other. Now, back in the days, they used to make these reversible, but now I don't know if that's even, can I put this the other way and will it make it a left spinning one? No, it doesn't seem. So now you have to have a left or right spinning one. And that's how, so the Hasbro ones back in the days, the other generation, you could use one to do two different ones. Now, like you would have a hole in this side and a hole in this side to switch the sides. Now, similar to the I always butcher that when I don't have it in front of me. Takara Tommy ones, they always used to have a left launcher and a right launcher separately. So yes, and I don't know if these type of launchers had the ability to switch. I don't know if they used to have like a thing to switch, but anyway. So we're gonna set this up here. Now you see what the launchers and everything looks like. We're gonna put this in view. And you could see there that Scythe was destroyed. Now, now before, the way they used to work, at least with the Hasbro ones, and I don't know if that's the case now, but it used to be where when they burst, that the bit at the bottom would also come out. It'd be a whole setup where everything fell apart at one time. Where here, it's just the top from the middle part. So I don't know if that's just kind of the way it is in general. I'm gonna do another one now with, I'm gonna switch their launchers, just so there's no kind of bias with that. I don't particularly prefer any one launcher over another, but so I guess by default, this one saved itself, and so it would be considered the winner. But that was just a quick look to show you guys, and if it's something you guys want to get into as a hobby, like I said, just for yourselves, maybe with your kids, it's definitely more affordable than it used to be. There's not as many stadium options right now, and that can get pricey, because if you buy the starter pack of the stadium, it's not a bad price if you want those blades, but essentially it's $40, $39.99. You get the better stadium and you get two blades. So for that value, it's not bad. But if you are like, I don't want to start with those blades, because sometimes the starter blades, there's nothing wrong with them, but sometimes you might say like, I want something that's a little more unique, then you're now paying a lot just for the stadium if you didn't want those blades. But if you're playing with your kids, it's still a good starter setup to have those kind of blades. So I'm not gonna knock it in that regard. But I definitely, like I said, recommend it, because if you just want to get started off, you have the option to buy the more affordable stadium, which you see in front of you. Like I said, that will go somewhere between $10 and $13. And the standard blade, this one runs for $10, and most standard blades are about $10. You can get double packs of the standard blades, which are sometimes about $14. So you're actually saving in price, $14.99. So you're saving about $5. This one right here was a little bit more premium, but even now, where back in the days premium was more expensive, premium here, this goes for about $15. It's about on sale though. So a normal price of a premium one is sometime around $20. So you can give or take. You can get like the more basic ones, which they aren't necessarily bad, but some are just a little bit more, I guess, rare or more pricey than others. But nonetheless, this is not a bad deal right now. And it was recommended on other channels to get it, so I did. And then this one I was on the fence about buying, but then I went and watched one of the episodes just to get familiar into, like, you know, just the theme of it. And this seems to be one of the ones that the main protagonist ends up using. So that made me kind of want to get it even more. So that is that, you guys. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Is this something that you guys are into? Are you looking to get into it? Do you want to know more about it? If so, I'll try to give more input of what I do know of it if I can. And as always, you guys, like, share, comment, subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next video.